Hey guys, welcome back to Vince-Vell Custom. So today we are going to do a garage kit review on this Age of Apocalypse kit. Now, this is one massive kit and it is no joke, but I absolutely love it. I love Age of Apocalypse storyline and just love the idea of the statue being this big and just awesome. Now, it's kind of the own, it's kind of like Age of Apocalypse but with their own take on it, which is kind of cool. So it's not actually exactly jumped out of the comic. There's some, liberties to it, but which is kind of cool and something different. It's always cool to see some different stuff out there than the same things over and over again, Thousands of Batmans, Supermans, you see all the Wolverines out there, but, when you start venturing into other cool storylines like Age of Apocalypse and other types of characters, it's really cool and it's a lot of fun. So, start off by giving you guys measurements. You're looking at about 29 inches tall. It's about 24 inches bigger. He's about, let's say about 15 inches wide. And then with the cape on, when it's on, you're probably looking at around 9 inches deep. So yeah, it's definitely one big kit, no joke. Beautiful sculpt, beautiful casting. I'll definitely talk about that in the video, is how well this casting is. We'll get in a little bit closer. We'll kind of break them all down for you in pieces. There is some damages to it in shipping, but that was because of, this is like the prototype one that's coming to me, and kind of working out all those details with packing. So I got to do some repairs on it, but that's something I already knew about. So it's all right. So it's not that big of a deal. It's just on my end. But people who are interested in snagging one, you probably won't have any of those issues because all the packing will be worked out. It is not polystone, it's polyurethane. It's the same exact resin that I've used in, my head bases that I've made. It's the same thing I use for generic bases. It's the same thing that a lot of garage kits are used. So it's solid, it's not hollow. So you're probably looking right now at everything that's on the table right there, about $300 to $400 worth of resin alone. That's how much is involved in this sucker. So it's not like your cheap resins that are out there that I've done in a lot of my videos where it's like hollow casted fiberglass and it's like eggshell thin, or it's not one of these things that you can get from overseas, like some of these statues I've worked on in the past from like Singapore. They're really great sculpts, but the castings are horrible because it seems like they cast like 30, 40, 50 of them out of one mold and it keeps getting bad. I've also worked on some statues where it's a really cool statue, but if you're going to kind of sand it and repaint it, you start hitting like little metal bits. It seems like some of these items you get from overseas, they'll throw metal into the statue just to save on resin, and you give it weight, which is kind of stupid. But then if you go to drill in something to like give it a pin, all of a sudden your drill bit's going crazy and it snaps because you're hitting like chunks of metal. And those are the things I really hate. I always tell people, I need to see the kit, I need to see what's involved. I don't just take on something and then all of a sudden I got 500 things going wrong with it. I need to know in the beginning, because you got to be careful with some of these things. But this sucker is solid resin and it is just beautiful. It's a 3D print, I think, and I just imagine how much, like when this was 3D printed, and then I can only imagine the rubber mold for this thing, or maybe they're ceramic molds, I don't even know, but it's no joke, huge. So we're kind of getting a little bit closer. We'll break it all down for you. Bear with me in the video because handling this sucker is a workout. I think these statues, as they get bigger and bigger and bigger, the more I wouldn't even need to go and work out, because handling these things is a workout. Lifting it, moving it, pinning, and just going crazy. So, alright, we'll kind of start off from the top. We'll work our way down. So we got two different heads. Kind of work on how I'm going to do the magnets too. This is the serious head. I think this is my favorite head. I kind of like the serious. But the cool thing is they have one that's got like a really sinister smile. And like I said, this is Age of Apocalypse, but it's kind of their own take on it. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of different. It's a really cool style. But I don't think I need to magnetize the heads because the keys are very thick. Hold on, I'm trying to see with the camera, and So the keys are very thick. Normally I would magnetize them, but because the way the cape is going to go into the body, it's probably better to just keep one huge magnet in the center for the cape and let the rest of the stuff just sit into the key. So in shipping, these pieces broke off. but that's all been rectified. It's just something I got to kind of fix on my end. It's nothing serious. They just broke off. It just was poor packing coming from overseas where it was made, and nothing serious because it's kind of like that prototype that we got to work out all those kinks. So, shoulder pads. Shoulder pads are really cool. So that comes off separately as well. Now normally I would magnetize this, you know, but you can see there's 2 keys in his back, and it's kind of hard to throw a magnet here for heads, throw a magnet here, and throw a magnet here, because even though the magnets are on their side, if you flip them by accident, you could kind of give it like a little bit of a warpage type thing, so that it could pop out and it might not set up correctly with having 3 different magnets going here. If it was like, you know, a magnet here, and a magnet here, and a magnet going up, then you can get the positive and negatives all going in the line. But because it's not, I'm probably going to just let the shoulder pads sit. I think it's better that way. So, now on to the cape. Now, the cape did break in shipping, but like I said, that was fixed already. This is just one of those things that I gotta kind of work on extra. So it is snapped in the center, so I'm going to use some lots of my little tips and tricks and pins to get that secured. So the cape goes here, and it's solid cape. It's really heavy, and what I'm going to need to do is I think I got to kind of drill in here a little bit, or here. I think there's just one thing that's kind of not flush. I think that's probably the worst part of the whole kit. It's just trying to make sure the cape gets in there and it's steady and it's secure. So I got to kind of make sure it's flush. So what I'll do is I'll probably put a nice big huge magnet here. I got to order them off eBay, and I got to get a big magnet over for this one as well and everything. So, all right. So that's the top part of it. We'll go on to the hands. Yeah, this is one of those kits I could just lay on the table and talk to you guys and put up to the camera. This is something I'm like just friggin' sweating already. Jesus. All right, so we got one big key here for this hand. You got a big key over here for this one. As you can see, just putting them in my hands, that's how big these sucker is. It's no joke. So I'll put a magnet here, put a magnet there. So it's good to magnetize the hands because they're not going to interfere with anything over here. And it's better to magnetize this as well because I can put these on a piece. I can paint these and then go from there. All right, let's take off the body, put them on the floor. All right. Now, I think, too, the other thing real quick before I forget, I'm not sure if the kit's going to come separated with the 2 hands here, these arms, but it was glued in together. So I'm going to seam this. Even though the shoulder pad hides it, I'm going to seam this anyway. But I'm not sure if the rest of the kits are going to come separated, but like I said, this is kind of like the prototype one, kind of just trying to get it done. And I'm not really sure, so I guess, you know, go to the bottom of the description, check out the Facebook page, you get all the details there. I'm just doing all the paint and putting it together work. I don't know what's going on with the rest of it. So, alright. That's heavy. Okay. Onto the base. So, what I'll do is I will drill here, and I would put the body in here, and then it'll be one solid piece. But I'm not going to attach them to the base because there's not enough meat for pins. Just enough meat over on this foot for a magnet. So as you can see, the keys are fairly thick. But when I say there's not enough meat under here for a magnet. At least I don't think so. But there is right over here. So I'll be able to put a nice strong magnet there and a nice strong magnet here. And that'll keep him in the base very well because he's definitely designed very well where he's not toppling or anything. So I don't really have to worry about a huge pin or anything in the heel because I don't even have enough meat over here anyway. So that's what's going to go on with that. Alright. So now onto the base. Alright, it's a couple pieces to the base. So you have this piece here. As you can see, that's kind of the only hollow stuff. So I told him, the guy that dropped it off, I said if you wanted to, you can hide some cash or valuables in there. And you know, most people, it's kind of like a cool little hiding spot. So the cool thing is it comes in these pieces. So I'll be able to paint all underneath here. I'll be able to paint here, and then you can attach everything at the end if you wanted to, or you can leave them separated. So I'm probably going to leave the top part separated, but I'll probably attach all these when I'm done. So this piece comes off here, as you can see. It's just a nice cool little piece there. And so I'll be able to paint all the details in here, you know, get all these stuff, and I don't have to worry about trying to, you know, paint underneath here and try to get in there, I can kind of just paint it and attach it, paint it and attach it. And then you got these little pillars here, so each one's numbered. You got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like you could go like that, and then I'll probably attach these two. I'll probably set that up, and then I'll probably attach this at the end. So I think this will be all one solid piece when I'm done. And then I'll leave this separated because I think it's better to leave this separated unless, you know, I talk to the guy and he wants me to keep it one solid piece. So, alright, like I said, we're really running out of time and definitely working up a sweat with this sucker. Alright, so this is the Age of Apocalypse kit review. It's definitely one massive kit and really, really well done. So, like I said, if you're into Apocalypse, or Age of Apocalypse, or just, you know, Apocalypse in general, and you like to get your hands on whatever, you know, creation or is out there, it's definitely one kit to look into. So, overall, kit is massive, very well done. I'm going to have a lot of fun doing it because, like I said, I enjoy working on Age of Apocalypse items because it's my favorite storyline in X-Men. And it's a good thing too because I'll be working on this in the summertime, so I can actually put a tarp outside. I'll be able to prime them all up, get them all keyed up, and then if it starts hitting about fall, winter, I don't have to worry about going outside in the cold priming it because it'll all be set up. Now, because he is a big character, I probably won't do too many videos on him. Maybe I'll do some videos on tips and tricks, maybe adding the magnets. And then what I'm going to do, because he's so big and you have to handle him, it's going to be a little difficult to just throw acrylic paint on him because I'm afraid that handling him and his weight will be kind of hard. But since he's, you know, he's going to be blue mostly, what I'll probably do is I'll probably put primer on and then I'll get a can of enamel, you know, and since it's going to be summertime, I can go outside and I can give him a nice blue coat of enamel, and that's kind of like a protecting. And then what I can do is I can do my acrylic paints, and then I'm going to do a clear coat of the Duplicolor Clear, but I'm going to give them a nice clear coat, and then I'll probably do a misting of Alclad Chrome, but just a mist, just to give the clear coat like a sheen, and then I'll probably clear coat them again. So I got an idea on how to do it already, and like the wheel is turning as I, like, just my days go on when I look at this and I think about it, what I need to do, just kind of working out everything here and there. But I'll probably maybe do some videos on that just to see how it works out. But other than that, I mean, there's not much work other than adding magnets, doing a couple little bit of the seam stuff, the repairs, and that's it. I mean, I've worked on kits in the past where, you know, you get bubbles all over here, or, you know, the seam line's horrible, but you got to take out the seam and match the sculpt, and, you know, like, it's just ridiculous on some kits, but this one's just beautiful. I mean, literally, I'm going to spend more time painting a kit for once than actually putting it together, which is very rare. That's why whenever I tell people that want to send me a kit, I always say, I need to see the kit and I need to see what's involved. I can't just say, hey, this is the price because, you know, when I get it, you know, all the stuff is wrong with it and it's making triple, quadruple times the amount of work than I thought. So if you're new to kit building too and you really wanted to, you know, take a crack on something bigger than a smaller kit and have some fun, this is definitely a kit to look into. You're definitely getting your money's worth. It's huge, it's solid, it's Apocalypse, so you can't go wrong. So there you go. There's Age of Apocalypse kit review. Be sure to check out the description at the bottom. Hit the Facebook page if you're interested. And there you go. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys, you know, get to see a kit review on something that's not small but huge, just big, and that's actually good, not like a kit, because I won't do kit reviews on stuff that's really bad. This is definitely something that's really just, I'm just floored at the casting. I just really am. So there you go. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back with more videos.